is technical writing? Here's my definition. It moves complex information from the people who have it to the people who need it in a form they can actually use it. In this video, I'll unpack that, separate it from content writing and business writing, and show you where LLMs fit. If you appreciate me making this type of content, let me know by gently tapping that like button. Let's get to work. Now, this is coming from someone who has spent 15 plus years writing, editing, and managing software documentation in both leadership and lone writer roles. If you're a working technical writer, stick around because you're going to want this vocabulary the next time when someone calls you the person who makes the PDFs. And if you're in QA, support, or engineering and thinking about moving into this field, this video is your foundation. So, here's my working definition of technical writing. Technical writing moves complex information from the people who have it to the people who need it in a form they can use it. That's it. Sounds simple, right? Watch out, because simple doesn't mean it's easy. Two words in that definition are doing a lot of heavy lifting: audience and use. Technical writing always has a specific audience, and that audience is trying to do something. Install the software, call the API without breaking anything, troubleshoot the error, assemble the bookshelf, do not fall off the ladder. Just as an example, the setup guide that came with your earbuds is technical writing. So is an API reference, a troubleshooting article, a release note, and the safety label on a ladder. Widely different documents, same DNA. Someone needs to do something, and the writing exists to get them there. Now, here's what makes technical writing genuinely different from almost every other kind of writing, and I need you to sit with this one. Nobody reads it for fun. Nobody curls up with a hot beverage in Linux release notes or AWS documentation. People read technical writing because they have to, because they're stuck, or because something is beeping and they'd like it to stop. And that completely flips how you measure success. A novelist wants you to stay on the page as long as possible. We want the opposite. Technical writing gets you your answer and then gets out of your way. The less time people spend in your docs, the better your docs probably are. It's also not about the writer. Your name usually isn't even on it. As far as the world is concerned, the manual for your phone was written by the entire company. Technical writing gets judged on accuracy, clarity, and whether the user succeeded, not on voice, and definitely not on how clever the writer is. Which honestly is a little humbling and a little freeing at the same time. Good technical documentation is invisible to the point of being forgettable. Now, quick pause. Drop a comment below with the worst definition of technical writing you've ever heard from a recruiter, a relative, or a confused coworker. I read every comment, and the best ones might end up in a future video. All right, so if that is technical writing, what is not technical writing? Let's untangle three terms that get mashed together constantly: technical writing, technical content writing, and business writing. Technical writing, like we just covered, helps a specific audience complete a task or understand a system. Success means that the user succeeded. The tone is neutral, the structure is predictable, on purpose, and persuasion is not the point. Think how to configure single sign-on. Technical content writing covers technical topics, but the goal is marketing. Blog posts, comparison articles, tutorials that are really designed to get into a sales funnel, those are all technical content writing. Think 5 reasons our API is faster than theirs. It can be well-researched and genuinely useful. There's nothing wrong with it. But success is measured in traffic, leads, and signups, not in whether the reader completed the task. It's a different job with different incentives. Business writing is the workplace communication layer. Emails, reports, proposals, meeting summaries, and the status update your manager skims, hopefully. The audience is colleagues and stakeholders, and the goal is to share information or get a decision made. Here's a quick test. Ask what the reader does after reading the page. If they complete a task or gain information, then that was technical writing. If they enter a sales funnel, then that was technical content writing. If they make a decision or reply to your email, then that was business writing. And here's why this matters beyond trivia night. Job postings mix these up all the time. If you're applying for a technical writer role that's actually a content marketing role, you're going to have a bad time. Knowing the difference protects your job search and your sanity. Now, the plot twist that surprises people outside the field: most technical writing is not done by technical writers. Engineers write READMEs and code comments. QA writes bug reports and test plans. Support writes knowledge base articles. Product managers write specs. If any of this is your day job, congratulations. You're already doing technical writing. You just haven't been doing it as your whole job. Some of the best API and tutorials that I've worked on were drafted by the engineers that I worked with. Admittedly, they started out kind of rough, but with a bit of guidance, they got really into it and really good. The difference is that for technical writers, this is the craft. We do it deliberately. We analyze the audience. We test the instructions. We obsess over the wording of step 4 to make sure it is absolutely clear, with no ambiguity. The gap between I wrote something down and I engineered this so a stressed human can succeed with it at 3 a.m. is the profession. All right, quick break. Since we're about to talk about LLMs, this is a good time to mention that I put together a free AI cheat sheet for technical writers. It covers how to actually use these tools in documentation work without embarrassing yourself. You can grab it completely free through the link in the description and the pinned comment below. Okay, LLMs. And notice I keep saying LLMs and not AI, because words matter, and being precise about tools is kind of our whole thing. LLMs intersect with technical writing in 3 big ways right now. First, as a tool for the writer: drafting, cleaning up transcripts, enforcing terminology consistency, converting the same content between formats, and more. Used well, an LLM handles the tedious part so you can spend your brain on audience and accuracy. AI is a tool, not a crutch. You still own the facts, the structure, and the user. If you paste raw LLM output into your docs without verifying it, that's not technical writing. That's gambling with your user's time. Second, your documentation feeds the machines. LLMs learn from and retrieve answers out of documentation. You've heard it before: garbage in, garbage out. When a chatbot confidently gives a wrong answer about a product, ask yourself what docs it was fed. Bad documentation used to fail one frustrated reader at a time. Now it fails at scale through every assistant that ingests it. Third, LLMs are changing how people consume documentation. More and more, users never see your beautifully organized doc site. They ask an assistant, and the assistant reads your docs for them, which means clear structure, accurate content, and consistent terminology matter more than ever, because now your audience includes machines that are terrible at reading between the lines. So no, technical writing is not dying because of LLMs. Sloppy writing is. The bar for good enough just went up. Which brings us to why any of this is necessary in the first place. Documentation is part of the product. Let me repeat that. Documentation is part of the product, not a side dish, not an afterthought. A feature nobody can figure out how to use might as well not exist. Good docs cut support tickets, speed up adoption, and yes, they sell products. Developers evaluate tools by reading the docs before anyone talks to sales. And in hardware and medical contexts, documentation isn't just helpful. It's a safety and legal requirement. And that's the other thing. Technical writing comes in flavors: software documentation, hardware documentation, medical writing, UX writing, and more. Same DNA, very different. I'm doing a whole video on the types of technical writing, so hit subscribe so that you don't miss it. Now, one more thing before we wrap, and this is where the job gets interesting. Writing is only part of what technical writers actually do. We're not just writers. We're problem finders, problem framers, and sometimes problem solvers. We interview engineers, test products, find the gaps nobody else noticed, and bust through organizational silos like the Kool-Aid Man. The typing is almost the easy part. And by the way, if this field is calling to you, especially if you're currently in QA, support, or another IT role, I coach people through exactly this transition. If you're interested in career coaching, schedule a call with me through the link in the description and the pinned comment below. I'd love to talk about where you are and whether we're a good fit to work together. So that's what technical writing is. This has been Technical Writing Uncensored. If you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It really helps out the channel. See you next time.